if reelected, Donald Trump has said he's willing to build migrant detention camps and deploy the U.S. military to deport the more than 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country. It would be the largest deportation operation in American history. Do you support that plan?
The answer to your question is yes. We cannot absorb 25, 30 million people who entered this country illegally. They're here illegally. What country on earth would tolerate that? We don't even know who most of these people are. They talk about vetting them with what? They're coming from nations that don't even have document systems in many cases. Yes, we are going to have to do something. Unfortunately, we're going to have to do something dramatic to remove people from this country that are here illegally, especially people we know nothing about.
Could we be looking at Vice President Marco Rubio?
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth. Somebody on the top of the line.
Hi, I'm Pastor Marty. Welcome to the Afternoon Drive. This is the place where you will get my rants, my ravings, and of course, my undeniably flawless reasonings. Please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Once you are, smack the bell, click the word all. That'll give you notification of every time I upload. And please like and share this video. That's the only way that we can get the word out that we're here. The algorithm at YouTube is not going to do anything to promote this channel. That's up to you. And I want to thank you for being a part of helping us grow this channel. We'd like to increase our subscriptions. We don't sell you any merch. I don't hit you up for a Patreon donation or membership. This is strictly driven by the fact that I want to share information with you. I want you to be able to have it and share it with anyone that you want. This is, for me, is not an occupation. It's a calling. That said, thank you for being a part of the Afternoon Drive. So Marco Rubio went on Meet the Oppressed on NBC, and Kristen Weller conducting the interview, and she wanted to set him up with a gotcha, because she wanted to ask him if he's going to support Donald Trump, which right now Marco Rubio has been very vocal about his support for Donald Trump. Now, those of us remember 2016, and we remember, little Marco and the back and forth that he and Trump had. But, when the primaries were over, he got on the Trump train and hasn't really aspired to be out there in the forefront again. Now, Marco Rubio is not what we would call the MAGA type Republican. Marco Rubio, very much a part of the establishment. And in that he likes that status quo, but there is one issue that is obviously very near and dear to him, is immigration. And we certainly don't agree with Marco on, he's a softer, more articulate version of Lindsey Graham when it comes to us, being at war all the time with everybody everywhere. And there are many of the Trump supporters that really don't want to see Donald Trump make the same mistake that he did in his first term, which was being talked into, well, you got to have an establishment guy so that everybody else comes along. Now, he put establishment people in his first administration, and all they did was work 24/7 with Democrats, with the rest of the deep state, to do everything they could to, at best, neuter Donald Trump, and at worst, literally destroy his administration right down to impeaching him twice, etc., etc., etc. But Marco Rubio has been out there, been very vocal in his support for Donald Trump. In fact, there are many people saying that he is on the short list to be the vice president. Of course, to pass Trump's litmus test, you've got to be, of course, loyal. You've got to be able to articulate the Trump doctrine. You've got to agree with Donald Trump on those key issues, and one being immigration. Well, of course, NBC News and the rest of the lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media, they're losing their minds because Donald Trump has been saying that one of the things that he will do we will have the biggest mass deportation ever in the history of the United States. And this has got the legacy media just going out of their ever-loving minds. That said, on the other hand, he continues to gain support with African Americans, people of color, Latinos. He held a rally in the South Bronx. AOC lost her mind over that, and she didn't have much to spare. But yet he continues to gain ground. And, you know, black people in South Bronx refer to Donald Trump as the man. Hispanics in the South Bronx refer to Donald Trump as the man. Some pundits still don't think that New York is in play. They're wrong. I'm telling you, the Northeast is in play. The vast majority of this country is in play. You know, we still don't know what's going on out there in weirdo California, but, you know, this is setting up to be a Reagan landslide like he had against Walter Mondale. It's more and more what this is looking like. But Marco Rubio would be another signal, and I talked to you a couple of days ago, if Donald Trump had struck a deal with the deep state, the powers that be. And I don't mean being co-opted by them, but basically saying, look, you know what? Let's not be adversarial with one another. The people want me, and if you get in the way this time, you'll never be able to have an election here again, because it will just, and you want people to calm down about election integrity and making sure that the people's voice get heard. Now, I think some deals have been struck. He's been very much, trying to keep Speaker Johnson around, even standing up to, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who, support Donald Trump with their undying breath. But, he's basically said to her, no, Johnson's got to stay. So he's making these expressions toward the establishment, and Marco Rubio would fit that category. But Marco Rubio, all over it on immigration on NBC.
If reelected, Donald Trump has said he's willing to build migrant detention camps and deploy the U.S. military to deport the more than 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country. It would be the largest deportation operation in American history. Do you support that plan?
11 million. That's an outdated. That was the number 10 years ago. We're talking upwards of 20, 25, maybe 30 million.
Well,
There's been almost 10 million people that have entered this country unlawfully in the last 3 years.
To the question, would you support it?
The number varies big time. I mean, it's another 9 to 10 million people just in the last 3 years. The answer to your question is yes. We cannot absorb 25, 30 million people who entered this country illegally. They're here illegally. What country on earth would tolerate that? We don't even know who most of these people are. They talk about vetting them with what? They're coming from nations that don't even have document systems in many cases. Yes, we are going to have to do something. Unfortunately, we're going to have to do something dramatic to remove people from this country that are here illegally, especially people we know nothing about. But 10 million, 11 million, that was the number 15 years ago. Today, it's upwards of probably 25 to 30 million, maybe more.
Senator, here's what you said about Donald Trump's mass deportations proposals in 2016. Take a look.
I don't think it's reasonable to say you're going to round up and deport 11 million people. I don't think it's a plan that works. I don't think that's a realistic policy.
So why have you changed your mind now?
Because the issue has completely changed. When I said that, and back in 2013, when I was involved in immigration reform, we had 11, 12 million people that had been here for longer than a decade. Now we've had almost that number in the last 3 years alone from all over the world, including people that I believe are terrorists, people that I believe are going to conduct terrorist attacks in this country if given the opportunity, certainly people that were criminals in their home country. This is a completely different, this is not immigration. You asked me about immigration. This is mass migration. Mass migration. This is an invasion of the country. And it needs to be dealt with dramatically. And by the way, I'm a big poll follower, but polls show most Americans agree with us on this.
And of course, that was an issue under former President Trump as well. There was just a bipartisan proposal that was put on the table that would put more funding into border enforcement as well as limiting asylum. Republicans walked away from that. But let me move on to my next question.
No, we can't move on because that's not what that bill did. That bill also created asylum officers who right on the border will be able to give give people asylum, and you give someone asylum right on the border without any appeal, no judge, nothing, just an asylum officer, they are on a path to citizenship. That's why I oppose that bill.
Your fellow Republican said it was the best deal that they had seen in a long, long time. But Senator,
which fellow Republican?
Senator Lindsey Graham, just to name Senator Lindsey Graham, just to name.
Okay, well then I disagree with Lindsey. That's what he said. I'm not in favor of asylum officers at the border that can issue asylum rulings right at the border.
Boom! She tried to take him out. She tried to say, look, in 2016, you said that President Trump and the way he wanted to handle immigration was wrong. And now all of a sudden you're in favor. And he didn't in any way obfuscate or try to throw Donald Trump under the bus like Nikki Haley recently did while she's trying to, throw her name out there. Let me be VP. Let me be VP. You need me, Donald. There are millions of people who supported me, and if you don't make me VP, they're just not going to vote for you in the general. You mean all the Democrats who sat out their own primaries because they knew it was a shoo-in for Joe Biden anyway, so they went ahead and became Republicans in the Republican primary so they could vote for Nikki and try to upset the GOP nomination process? Are you talking about those supporters, Nikki? I mean, Nikki is just a self-delusional, and there's a word I want to use, and I can't because I'm a pastor, I'm a family man, and my wife is in this hotel room, so I can't say what I want to say about Nikki Haley, and it's a very shall we say derogatory feminine word. That said, Nikki Haley stands no chance of being the VP pick. Marco Rubio said it's a different time. What we have right now is not immigration. The 11 million people that were here in 2016, a lot of them have been here like 10 years. We were getting a few 100,000, illegals coming in a year. But under Joe Biden in the last 3 years, it's doubled. In other words, it took us over a decade to get to 11 million illegals. Joe Biden brought in another 11 million in just 3 years. This is not sustainable. This is not immigration. This is a migration. This is an invasion. Marco Rubio hit this absolutely out of the park. And there are many who believe that obviously he would help Donald Trump with the Hispanic vote. I think Donald Trump is doing just fine there. I'm one of those. I don't want to see Donald Trump make the mistake thinking that he's got to surround himself again with deep staters to appease them. You know who I think he ought to choose as his VP running mate, but Marco Rubio is certainly proving and showing himself to be strong, to be loyal, and I don't know that the VP slot is a good slot for him, but I do think he is going to be on the Trump short list to have a key cabinet position. That's something we need to keep an eye on. Maybe Secretary of Immigration. This is a issue that is very near and dear to Marco Rubio, and I think Donald Trump and Marco Rubio working together on this, oh baby, oh baby, oh baby.